What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this POV review by Autobahn. My name is Max, and today we are taking a look at the Maserati GranTurismo Folgore. I've been told that I was pronouncing it wrong. It's not Folgore, it's Folgore, which means lightning or lightning bolt. And it is the electric version of the GranTurismo. Now don't click away, because this is actually a proper electric Maserati. Not like the Grecale, which we drove recently, which sort of has a little bit of an outdated technology platform. This is their new 800 volt architecture, and it is great. It is absolutely incredible. So today I'm going to show you around it. I'll show you the spec, and then we'll take it for a drive towards the Autobahn for an Autobahn blast. With a little disclaimer, we have winter tires today and it is very slippery, as you can see. Yeah, we are going to be able to do like 250 kilometers an hour today, which is still okay for an electric car, I would say. But we will be recording more videos with this car later in the year, in like 2 months, when the weather is a bit better, when it's on summer tires, because this car has a top speed of 325 kilometers an hour, which is nuts. And I cannot wait to do that, because I think it's such a cool thing. So design wise, it looks a lot like the outgoing or the old GranTurismo, of course. However, they have updated it in some very clever ways. So we've got new headlights, of course, and a new grille, but both still have like a classic Maserati look. We also have this gorgeous blue paint today. Not sure which color it is, but if you have a look at the website and go into the configurator, you can select some outrageous colors for this car, which I think is really cool. They are also outrageously expensive, like, I don't know, 32,000 euros, but there are some very cool specs that you can do. So let's start with the wheels and tires and brakes. We have these gorgeous 20-inch wheels at the front. I believe it has 21s at the rear. Let me just have a quick look see. Yeah, 21s at the rear, and beautiful design, also sort of classic Maserati. Behind that, perforated discs and black calipers. Brakes are very good, so the change between regen and actual brakes is very good. You don't really feel the difference, which I like. Suspension setup also really good, and we've got the battery in the front here in sort of a T-bone. I think it's like that, so like that, T. So you have a low seating position and a low roof line, which makes it feel like a proper Maserati. It is a 92.6 kilowatt hour battery, so a proper battery. And then we have one electric motor at the front, permanent magnet, 2 at the rear. Every single one of those is capable of doing 400 horsepower, so 300 kilowatts. So in theory, this car is able to put down 1200 horsepower. But the battery is the limiting factor there. You cannot extract that much from it. So it is putting out 761 horsepower and 1350 newton meters of torque, that is like proper power. Absolutely lovely Maserati badge there in that bronze color for the Folgore. And you also get these 3 illuminated vents here on the side, which is also a nice touch. I think I can show you guys. So when I lock it, it should light up. Yeah, now you can actually see that because it's... So there it is. But I think that's a cool touch, because you have the 3 little vents that you want on your Maserati, but then in like a modern way. And I think that's very clever, because that is what we want, right? We want a modernized version of something that is old, because we all like old stuff better than new stuff. That is our curse. But look at those lines, look at those hips. That is just gorgeous. And I love the fact, I said this in the Grecale video as well, I love Maserati's approach that they are developing these cars next to each other in parallel, which means that the regular GranTurismo looks exactly the same as the electric one. And I think that for a brand like Maserati, that is the way to go. It just it should look like a GranTurismo, just it happens to be electric. But it's not like this whole spaceship approach that something that's electric should look like it's from 2050 or whatever. I don't like that. I also don't like this antenna, which is a bit too chunky. Ooh, it's a bit too chunky for my liking, and there's a camera in there. I don't know why, but yeah, that's not great. That's not really Maserati. Not as elegant as the rest of the car. And then you have a relatively limited boot as well because of electric motors that sit below. So that also brings me to the whole GT thing. This is supposed to be a Grand Tourer, of course, but you know, an electric Grand Tourer, that doesn't really work, because if you have to cover a lot of distance quickly, you're not going to take an electric car. It just doesn't work that way. So you can take the Trofeo GranTurismo if you have a long trip, and that is 550 horsepower from the Nettuno V6 that you also find in an MC20, which is great. You should look at this more like a daily driver supercar, which happens to be electric, because it looks freaking cool. I think it's a gorgeous car, and it has enough range to do like your, you know, daily driving, your commute and stuff like that, because it has a claimed range of 450 kilometers. But as we know, you know, that's very hard to get close to that. Currently we have 82%, which is 300 kilometers. But it's actually not bad, because you can charge it up really quickly. I think 270 kilowatts, and that means 10 to 80% in around 20 minutes or just under 20 minutes. And you can do 100 kilometers of range in 5 minutes. If you need a quick charge, 5 minutes, 100 kilometers, that is actually pretty good. Interior wise, it's good and it's not so good. The good, let's start with the good. Beautifully designed. Materials here on top are nice, sort of this, I think it's vegan leather. The stitching is nice. This is all beautifully made. The design is really good, like these flowing lines, the exposed carbon fiber, the Sonus Faber audio system also looks gorgeous. You have a big speaker in the rear as well. You also have some proper space in the rear, so for passengers, which is a lot better than before with the GranTurismo. And yeah, it just all looks gorgeous. This like flowing line on the dash with the Italian flag there, and of course the little clock on the dash, which also looks very cool. Steering wheel, the rim is nice and thin, which is great. It feels good. It looks okay, I would say, but these buttons are a bit too cheap for my liking when you pay this kind of money. It's 200 grand in the Netherlands, so it's an expensive car. It starts at 200 grand, I should say. So yeah, this is not great, these buttons. This is all meh. And this, I think, is some kind of eco Neil or eco line, something like that, which feels like, I don't know, a wetsuit, right? I think it would have been better if they went with, I don't know, some kind of vegan Alcantara. I don't know. I think Alcantara is not even leather, right? It's not suede. It's like a fake suede. So yeah, I don't know. Could have been better, but all in all, I like the interior. As a Grand Tourer, or as a Maserati, this works for me. I like it. This system also works great. It looks great. You've got all your climate down here, so you always have that quickly accessible, which is nice. And then you have some shortcuts down there, and in the menu here you can change some stuff in the driving mode. This is Corsa mode, Corsa settings, and then you can go for torque vectoring. So there's an electric motor at the front with an open diff, and then at the rear you have torque vectoring because you have two motors. If you go to Agile for the torque vectoring and Pro for the traction control, you can absolutely hoon this thing around. Oh, these are the cool wheels, by the way. I hope you guys can see that. It's a shame that we don't have those wheels, because these are super cool. These like Trident 3-spoke Wheels, I think that is one of the coolest features of this car. So it's a shame that this particular one doesn't have those. Okay, so let's have a little drive and I'll show you what it's like. As I said, it is insanely easy to hoon this thing around. So they used Formula E technology for the drivetrain of this car, and specifically silicon carbide inverters for a better energy flow and high efficiency, and it works. This thing, for the first time, I think for the first time I'm ever driving an electric car, it actually feels like an electric race car when you're on it. It is insane the way this thing just eats up those rear tires. It is magnificent. I love it. It is such a hooligan if you want it to be. And it just completely quiets down in GT mode. You only have 80% of the power, and of course it's not as aggressive, but it just quiets right down. It is super silent and you're just moving around like a boss in style. It's just, I love the duality of it. I love that. It's just, it works so well. But let me just demonstrate. There's no one here. Look at that! I mean, seriously. Who does that to their car nowadays? That is just, I freaking love that. This is what we need. It is a Maserati, and it happens to be electric. They're not trying to be cute about it, they're just trying to make it as good as it can be, and they're trying to make it fit their brand identity as well as they can, and I think they did an exceptional job at that. It is hilariously overpowered, and with this whole Corsa thing, you can just feel that it wants you to do this. It's begging you to do it, and I think that is just, it is so fun. So let me see if we can also do like a it's just hilarious. It has so much power and it just deploys everything instantly. It's great. I love it. I absolutely love it. It is too much for like, well, it did grip there. So like at around 100 kilometers an hour, it starts gripping, and it actually is pretty quick. It's supposed to do 0 to 100 in 2.7 seconds. We're not going to be able to do that today, of course, with this temperature. So we're going to do all the measurements next time when we have some proper weather, and we will do the top speed run, the 0 to 100, quarter mile, everything, because I think it is actually a pretty quick car. So if you're a little bit more careful with the throttle, it's not lighting up those rear tires. But so let me see if what happens if we go to standard for the traction and the torque factoring. Foot down. Oh, see, it grips. That's not bad, but you don't have like that full performance, because if you go to performance optimization or something like that, why is that not working? There it is. Max boost not available, temperature too low. See, so there's more in here. There's more where that came from, and this is just, there's a lot going on that you're not even feeling, and you can even dial it up more. And I think that's, you know, apart from the fact that we're on winter tires and we're limited to like 250 kilometers an hour, we also need proper dry roads and a bit higher temperatures to really see what this thing is all about, because it is cool. We have pedals behind the steering wheel as well, so you can downshift basically, which increases the amount of regen and slows you down, and then you can use the up pedal to go less regen. which is great. So again, when I hit the brakes, I don't really feel a difference between regen and braking, which is great, because it just makes for a natural brake pedal feel. Love the handling as well. The suspension has been set up really well. It weighs 2260 kilos. You don't really feel that, to be honest. It doesn't feel light, I would say, but for a car of this size and of this type, it feels good enough. And that just is hilarious to do. It feels, the power delivery is so instant and so strong that it does feel like you need to be awake, like you need to be expecting to catch it. But when you do, when you know what to expect, it actually feels quite natural and quite easy as well. I don't think I have a speedo cam with me, so I hope you guys can see that one. I think you will be able to see that properly. Okay, so see, now I put my foot down. Because I changed these two modes, it didn't really want to step out anymore. There's some very clever stuff going on here. I like it. Okay, so here we go, full throttle. Oh, that is pretty quick. We have a little bit of sound going on in the background as well, but it's not too loud. That's 250. So we have the stiff suspension selected now. I'm going to switch that up. Let's just go to sport mode and then suspension in comfort. Wow, that is very soft. I think the sound is a bit different as well in sport mode. Maybe a bit louder even. No, it's the same. So this is the power, 250 per engine, max power indicated. I don't think you will get that. So we're in Corsa mode, right? Yeah. Just put my foot down. It gets up there really easily. I honestly cannot wait to do a proper top speed run with this thing. I'm curious to see how it develops, like if it keeps, you know, that acceleration steady all the way to that top speed, because this feels like beefy. It's like beefy performance. So this is the torque distribution, as you can see. So it's like 75-25 basically, right? And then if we go to Corsa Agile Pro and then go back to torque, yeah. So yeah, it's 100%. It's 100% to the rear. 100% to the rear. That is like proper. I like it. I really do like it. I like it a lot more than I was expecting. I do like the screen, but sometimes it's a bit hard to hit certain buttons and it doesn't respond too well all of the time, but it looks good and it's ergonomically speaking, it's easy to use. So let's do a pull. I do think the performance is going down a little bit when you deplete the battery, so feels like it will be the fastest with 100% battery, and I thought that with 800 volt systems that was not the case, so we have to test that out next time as well. Well, that is lovely. And now let's go to GT mode. And the suspension just, wow, it's so soft. And you have 80% of the power in GT mode, which I would say is more than enough for your daily driving, right? So let me put my foot down. Oh yeah, that's noticeably slower. But still, it's perfectly fine. So, what a surprise. What a surprise. I think this is a really good car. I really do believe that this is a very good car because it is fun. It feels like a freaking Formula E race car when you have Corsa mode and those torque vectoring and traction control settings. It's super happy to slide. It has a good balance. I think it's also 50-50 weight distribution. This is a proper electric Maserati. I think honestly they've done an incredible job. It also feels quite refined. The power delivery feels solid, the brakes feel good, the steering feels good, the suspension is good. It's just that range is rather limited at 450 kilometers when you have so many manufacturers doing like 600, 700 even. So that's the only thing I would say they have to work on, but other than that, they're on the right track. This is getting there. This is really impressive. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know you don't really like electric cars, but I feel like we still have to drive them because this is what cars are now. And even though I don't agree with the way it's being done, and I don't think that, you know, our infrastructure will be ready for the next 10 years, or there are so many ifs and buts, but this is a really good way to do it, and I like it. So hope you enjoyed it. You can subscribe by clicking the big button. Make sure you do, because we are going to do a top speed run with this thing and see how fast it will go in a few months. You can check out this video if you like, this playlist, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye.